just curious, do all the teachers record themselves? Is that what they're basically?
No.
Any of them?
No, they just do
Yeah,
Zoom
I
calls on
think.
Wednesday.
Yeah, in health class they don't record. She doesn't record herself, but she.
Zoom calls, like just answer questions and stuff?
She does it in a different,
That'd take for, you'd be there all day, all the questions
She
people
spends
have.
about 2 hours just there.
Oh.
there.
All right, 31. Okay, I apologize for those students that are at home right now. We went over the first two. They're on the board right here. You can see the solutions right there, so I'm just going to let you look at those for a second while we pull up the next question. The next questions are very similar, though, so let's see. Let's get question 31 up there. We're just taking story problems and making them into mathematical problems, and then we're solving them. So 31. Again, we're using the variable n. For students at home, you have to use the variable n because they tell you to use n. If you use x, it's going to say it's wrong. Okay. It says 8 plus, that's easy enough, 8 plus. Then it says the quotient. What does quotient mean? That's kind of a weird word. Yes, ma'am. It's dividing. Yep. So, I mean, the big ones you really need to know are sum means add, difference means subtract, product means multiply, and quotient means divide. There's other ways of saying things, but those are the big four that you really need to know. Say the quotient of a number in 3, so x, not x, n again, n, and I'm not going to write n divide by 3. I'm going to write n over 3. That's just normally the way you write it in algebra. Is -2. Okay? So again, these first two questions that we already did, that students at home didn't see, we do it the same way. We set it up, it's in words, we write it mathematically, and then we solve it. So we've got to get n by itself, we've got to get rid of the 8 and the 3, we get rid of the 8 first by subtracting 8. These cancel, we're left with n over 3. -2, take away 8 more is -10. And how are we going to get rid of that 3?
We multiply.
Why?
Because it's already, you do the opposite.
What are we doing right there? What's n over 3?
We're dividing.
We're dividing, so we times by 3, times by 3. These cancel. N is -10 times 3, which is -30. And again, we're only going to type in -30. For students at home also, for your equation, you're just going to type this part in. The -2 is already on the screen for you. So don't type in equals -2. It's going to say it's wrong, even though it's right, because it's the way they have already typed in for you. Okay, let's do 3 more. I think 3 more. 2, 3, 4, yep. 32. Says, the sum, this is where it gets tricky, okay? Oh, no, it's not. The sum of twice a number, well, some number is, we're still using n. So we are going to add, but we're going to add what, though? Twice a number. Well, number's x, so what?
2.
Well, twice it, though, so 2n.
Yeah.
Right, 2n.
Oh, I see.
If a number's n, twice the number's 2n. Sum, you said, is plus. Plus what? And half the number, well, if the number's n, half the number is, well, no, we don't know the number. The sum, when you add them together, you're going to get 10. But if the number's n, half the number would be, let's back up here. If the number's n, twice the number's 2n. So if a number's n, what's half the number?
Half an n.
Half n.
Oh, okay, that's.
Has
That's
to equal what?
confusing. I was about to say 0.5 n.
Same thing. I don't care. Same thing. All right. Equals what, though?
10.
10. Okay. Some number, we have some number out there. Twice it's 2n. Half of it's half n. Now, can we simplify that a little bit?
Yes, we can.
What can we do?
We can add
Add
2
2.
and
Point and a half, which is 2.5. Or I like what Ryan said. He said 2.5. But you don't have to make it into a decimal. I think it might be easier if we do, though. So 2n plus 0.5n is 2.5n. I will say this, though, Ryan, and for everybody. The computer, if you put 0.5n, it might say you're wrong. I mean, because I know they're the same, but they said
The
half.
computer says that's right.
It did say it was right? You already?
No.
Oh,
It
okay.
says the computer would say it.
It may or may not. I don't know. I would type this in, though. Okay? And then the last thing we need to do is divide by 2.5. And you guys do this in your head. How many $2.50 are there in 10 bucks? Yep, 4 of them. So n is 4. Okay? So there's our equation. There's our solution. Two more. Okay, this is where they get really, really tricky, okay? We're gonna take this a whole heck of a lot slower. Okay, it says on 33, it says, I'm gonna read it several times before I start writing. It says 6 times the sum of a number in 15. 6 times the sum. Now, if we ignore that 6 times, we ignore it says 6 times. It simply says the sum of a number, some number, so we're going to say it's what? N. Again, you could use X, but they want N's.
Yeah.
Okay? So we have N. And it says sum, so it means addition of 15. Okay? Now this is where it gets really tricky, okay? It says 6 times this. Yes, ma'am? What? I'm not sure what you asked. What? That's exactly what you need to do, okay? And here's why. If you don't put it, you're taking 6 times the entire sum. If I just put times 6 right here, what am I taking 6 times? Just N.
Yeah.
But it's 6 times the entire sum, all of it. That's why you have, good, I'm glad you see that there's parentheses there. That's fantastic. That's, a lot of students have a hard time seeing that, okay? You've got to have parentheses in there. 6 times the entire sum equals negative 42. Fantastic. Okay, how are we going to clean this thing up?
Okay, now what you do first,
You're good.
is you multiply 6.
What's
and
that called?
Yeah.
Distributing, yep. So we times 6 times n is 6n. 6 times 15 is 90. Do we times negative 42 by 6? Or not? No, for a couple of reasons. 1, it's not in the parentheses. 2, it's on the other side. So you just leave it alone for right now. We got to get rid of the 6 and the 90. The 90 first. It's farther away, so subtract 90. The 90's cancel off with 6n equals negative 42. Negative 90 is negative 132. Then we divide by 6. If you do that, you get negative, I believe it's 22.
Is it?
Pretty sure. 6 times 2 is 12.
Oh, yeah.
So 6 times 20 is 120. 2 more 6's get you to 132.
Oh, I was overthinking that.
Last one. 34. Okay, they're still asking us to use n. Okay, now again, this is very similar to 33. It says 4 times the difference of a number and 7. Okay, well, if you ignore the 4 times, difference means what? Subtraction. Some number and 7. Okay, and I didn't say this yet. I want to make sure you guys understand this. Okay, so some numbers, we'll say n. Is it n? It says a number in 7. Is it n minus 7 or 7 minus n, or doesn't it matter? Do you think it matters or not?
No, I don't think it matters.
Well, let me ask you this. When you subtract, does order matter?
Yeah.
Is 10 take away 2 the same as 2 take away 10?
No.
No. 10 take away 2 is 8. What's 2 take away 10? Negative 8. They're opposites, okay? So does order matter? Yes. Now what comes first? And this is a really simple, you may not know the answer to this, but once I tell you, it's a really simple answer to this one. Is it going to be n minus 7 or 7 minus n? It says the difference of a number and 7.
It'd be n minus.
Why?
Because the different, I don't know, whatever you decide.
I said the difference between a number and 7.
Yeah.
What'd you say? It says a number first. Now what if it said the difference of 7 and a number? Then it'd be 7 minus n, because why, Melania? 7 was first. Okay. Now what if it was addition? What order do you add in? It doesn't matter. If I want to count the students in this class, do I count the guys plus the girls or the girls plus the guys? It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Okay. So it's n minus 7. That's the difference. But it's 4 times the entire difference. So yes, ma'am.
Put the n minus 7 parentheses.
Got to put in parentheses. Okay. And what did I say? 4 times? 4 times. And it's going to equal 12. Make sure you type this in also on Number 33. Okay, we're going to distribute. So we're going to type this in. 4 times n is 4n. Minus 4 times 7 is 28. Is 12. Then we have to get rid of the 4 and the 28. 28 first, it's farther away. 28's cancel. We have 4n. We do what it says on the right. 12 plus 28 is 40. Last thing we do, divide by 4. And it's 40 divided by 4, which is 10. Okay? Those last two are pretty tricky, I think. You got to remember to put the parentheses in there. Okay? All right, you got the rest of the hour. You can click on the answers, work on the assignment. We're going to talk about the next section tomorrow, but we're actually not going to probably start it until Monday, very likely. All right? But rest of the time's yours to work, guys. If you haven't turned in section 1-1, can you still turn it in?
Yes, you just gotta email
Just
me.
email me and say, I got 1-1 done.